大家好, this is Short Stories, brought to you by the Taichung Keda Language Center. Today's short story is called The Princess and the Frog. It is a classic story that can be found in Grimm's fairy tales. It's about the importance of gratitude and kindness, even to those who you may find disgusting and unpleasant. And it is also an example of the phrase, you can't judge a book by its cover. I think that's something we should all remember. Before I start the story, I'm going to read the vocabulary and vocabulary example sentences. After I have finished reading the story, I will read 4 listening comprehension questions. Are you ready? Okay, let's get started. Vocabulary. Selfish. Selfish. No one liked Tim because he was so selfish. Cool off. Cool off. It's too hot today, so let's go to the swimming pool to cool off. Precious. Precious. Smeagol would do anything to keep his precious ring safe. Weep. Weep. That movie was so sad that the entire audience was weeping at the end. Nasty. Nasty. The restaurant was shut down because it was full of nasty cockroaches. Give one's word. Give one's word. The prince gave the princess his word that he would come back for her. Break a promise. Break a promise. The princess was depressed and angry because the prince broke his promise. Gratitude. Gratitude. When someone gives you a gift, you should show gratitude by saying thank you. Reluctantly. Reluctantly. Don reluctantly left the office after he was fired. Vocabulary is finished, now the story. In olden times, when wishing still did some good, there lived a king with 3 beautiful daughters. The oldest was the wisest. The middle was the most graceful. But the youngest, although very pretty, was a bit selfish. On hot summer days, she liked to walk into the royal forest near the castle to cool off. There was a well where she liked to relax and throw her favorite toy around, a little golden ball. She would throw it up into the air and catch it. It was her most precious plaything. One day while she was playing catch, she missed the ball and it fell into the well. The princess looked into the well, but it was very deep, so deep that she could not see the bottom of it. She began to cry and said, "If I could only get my ball again, I would give all my fine clothes and jewels and everything that I have in the world." Just then a frog put his head out of the water and said, "Princess, why do you weep so bitterly?" She replied, "What can you do for me, you nasty frog? My golden ball has fallen into the well." The frog said, "I do not want your pearls and jewels and fine clothes. But if you promise to love me and let me live with you and eat from your golden plate and sleep on your bed, I will bring you your ball again." "What nonsense," thought the princess. "This slimy frog thinks he can be my friend." But she also thought, but he is my only hope to get my ball back. So she said to the frog, "Well, if you will bring me my ball, I will do all you ask." Then the frog put his head down and dived deep under the water. After a little while, he came up again with the ball in his mouth and threw it on the edge of the well. As soon as the young princess saw her ball, she ran to pick it up. She was so overjoyed to have it in her hand again that she forgot about the frog and ran home as fast as she could. The frog called after her, "Wait, wait, princess, take me with you. I cannot run as fast as you." but she did not stop to hear a word. The next day, just as the princess had sat down to dinner, she heard a strange noise, plip, plop, plip, plop, as if something wet was coming up the marble staircase. Soon there was a gentle knock on the door, and a little voice cried out and said, "Youngest of the kings 3, open up the door for me. Remember what you have said. You'd let me sleep in your bed. Youngest of the kings 3, open up the door for me." Then the princess ran to the door and opened it, and there she saw the frog. At this sight she was sadly frightened, and shutting the door as fast as she could, came back to her seat. The king, her father, seeing that something had frightened her, asked her, "What's the matter, my dear?" "There is a nasty frog at the door," she said. The king was confused and asked her to explain. The little princess retold the story of her ball falling into the well and the promise she had made the frog. Then the king said to the youngest princess, "Since you have given your word, you must keep it. Go and let him in." She did so, and the frog hopped into the room and went straight to the table where the princess sat. "Please lift me up to the table," said the frog to the princess, "and let me sit next to you." As soon as she had done this, the frog said, "Move your plate a little closer so that I may eat from it." This she did, and when he had eaten as much as he could, he said, "Now I am tired. Carry me upstairs and put me into your bed." At first the princess refused, but her father warned her not to break her promises and to show gratitude to those who helped her. She reluctantly picked up the frog with 2 fingers and brought him to her bedroom, where he slept all night long. When the princess awoke on the following morning, she was astonished to see, instead of a frog, a handsome prince gazing on her with the most beautiful eyes she had ever seen, standing at the head of her bed. He told her that a witch had cast a spell on him that turned him into a frog. The only way to break the spell was to get a princess to show him kindness and to take him into her home. "You have broken this cruel charm, and now I have nothing to wish for but that you should go with me into my father's kingdom, where I will marry you and love you as long as you live," said the prince. The young princess, of course, said yes to all of this. Very soon a brightly colored coach drove up with 8 beautiful horses decked with plumes of feathers and golden harnesses. Behind the coach rode the prince's servant, faithful Heinrich, who had bewailed the misfortunes of his dear master during his enchantment so long and so bitterly that his heart had almost burst. They then took leave of the king and got into the coach with 8 horses. They rode to the prince's kingdom, where they lived happily a great many years. Now for the questions. Question 1. What did the young princess drop into the well? A. A frog. B. Her jewelry. C. Her golden ball. D. Her golden crown. The answer is C. Her golden ball. Question 2. What promise did the young princess make to the frog? A. To let him eat from her plate and sleep in her bed. B. To sleep in the frog's well all night. C. To let the frog become the new king. D. To give the frog a tasty fly to eat. The answer is A. To let him eat from her plate and sleep in her bed. Question 3. Who was the frog really? A. An ugly toad. B. A princess. C. A prince. D. Kermit. The answer is, of course, C. A prince. Question 4. Which word best describes the young princess? A. Ungrateful. B. Thankful. C. generous. D, sly. The answer is A, ungrateful. That's the end of today's short story. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.